Alrighty, hey everyone, welcome back. Well, today started out looking great for us. We were up 18% on Cipher, 14, 15% on IREN. Cleanspark was up 8, 10%. Others were up nicely as well, but then within, what was like an hour and a half after the market opened, things started to go south on us rather quickly here. I'm attributing that to possibly being the jobs report came out better than people were expecting, which then leads to people concluding that the rate cuts for December are going to be off. We'll take a look at that here. We'll take a look at what happened with Bitcoin miners as well. It is what it is right now. Bitcoin got to 85,000. I said yesterday that we might get down to here if things don't hold up. We got there. I said also maybe a week or two ago that we might get down to 85,000 if things don't hold well. That might be kind of the support there. We'll see if this holds. RSI on Bitcoin is crazy low right now on the daily. Fear and greed in the market is at pretty much at an all-time low, going back to, I think, 2022 when Bitcoin actually bottomed out. So we're kind of right there where we possibly could bottom out here, but we could possibly go down a little bit more. We'll take a look at that. We got some good news from Cipher though. They got another deal with, gosh, who was it there? Google and, trying to blank on the company name, but you guys know who it is. They got a deal there for the additional megawatts that they have available at Barber Lake, I believe it is. So that's good news. We'll talk about that. They're also doing another convertible note. We'll talk about that as well, and then we'll get into Q&A here. So we're going to try to keep this relatively short and sweet. I've been on 2 spaces with Ernest here today. We talked with Galaxy Digital. We also talked with BitFufu. Those were great conversations there. A lot of good questions asked by Ernest, and he does a great job there. I don't know why he needs me there. He does a fantastic job. I'm just there to kind of help out a little bit, ask some questions along the way, but definitely check that out if you guys haven't. That was on X today. Okay, let's get into it here. As always, not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. You guys know the drill. All right, let's take a look at here what happened with Bitcoin today. Bitcoin was actually in the green today this morning, right? But after an hour and a half or so after trading started, we started coming back down. We were down $4,924 on Bitcoin, 5.38%. So definitely one of the worst days that we've had here in a while here. This was 5.38%. The prior one here was 5.13. This one was only 4.78. This one down here was actually 7%. So this was back in Friday, the 10th of October, where we had a lot of liquidations at that point. So this is the second worst day that we've had here in Bitcoin. Bitcoin's heading down lower right now as it is. On the new day, we're at 85,361. Not a great feeling there happening. Obviously, the markets were all down as well. And then you can kind of see if we look at maybe the 1 hour chart, you can see where things started going south on us here. On Bitcoin here, this was right around, let's see, November 20th, let's see, Bitcoin, where are we at here? 20th, okay. In the morning hours, we were going up here. There it is. This was not a little pump here. Where the heck was this? 19th was Wednesday. Today was Thursday. We actually started coming back down, but we were going up, and then we came back down here on it, okay? So that's kind of where we are with it overall. Markets, like I said, markets were down. Dow Jones was down. NASDAQ was down quite a bit there as well. S&P was down. Russell was down also. Everything was kind of down today because of, well, the report. Ethereum was also down a little bit. Today it was down only that's on the hour, daily. I'm going to look at the daily. On the daily, it was down 6.37% there. Bitfarms was actually flat on the day, which was kind of nice to see. Bitfarms was stuck at $2.60. It was at one point much higher than that. You can see that it got to a high of today, 295. It closed at 260. BitDeer was down a little bit as well, 0.2. Kang was basically flat on the day as well, 0. Cipher was down just a little bit, 0.41%, but did get to a high here of 17.56. Closed at 14.56, right? Pretty wild swings there. Cleanspark was down 4.31. CORZ was down 1.49. Hive was down 5.19. Hut 8 was down quite a bit there, down 10.07%. IREN was down 5.15% to being in the green, touching the 50 SMA there, kind of like Cipher did as well. Mara was down 7.75. Riot was down 4.27. Wolf was down 5.48. Bitcoin holding companies were down also, except for, again, Nexon for some reason continues to hold up pretty well here. Have to do a little more research on them, see why they're holding up pretty well. But everybody else was in the red here. Small miners, looking at those guys here, everybody was, excuse me, in the red except for Mawson today was up 22%. Probably after the bounce they had yesterday. Let's see if we got any kind of news. NASDAQ trading halt, pending. The Mawson Infrastructure Group announces 1 for 20 Reverse split. Okay, so that's maybe why I was maybe bouncing up here a little bit, so they don't get delisted from the Nasdaq. Maybe that's what's going on there. Bitcoin ETF for the miners here, they were all in the red. WGMI at one point this morning was up 11% on the day, and it closed out being 4% in the red. Huge swing here on the markets. The Ethereum holding companies were all in the red here. You can see that as well. We're not going to dive into it too much. And then pretty much everybody else that we track has been down today. So not a great day. Taking a look really quick as far as where the miners are right now in the after hours, pre-hours, whatever you want to call it here. BitDeer's down another 1.58%. Bitfarms here is down 5% now. So it was flat on the day. It's down 5% in the after hours. Cango is flat. Cipher is down 3%. So still a lot of panic happening here in the markets. Cleanspark's down 2%. Additionally, CORZ Scientific is actually up 0.4. That's the only one there right now, at least. Hive is down another 2.4%. Hut 8 is down 2.4. IREN here, let's see, is down 2.37. Mara is down 1.46. Riot is down 1.25. And last but not least, TerraWolf here is down 1.82. Okay, so not a great day. Bitcoin right now for the fourth quarter here is down 23.97%. We actually got down to like 31.8% down for the top where we have been in Bitcoin at 126,000. So, November has been pretty tragic here for us. We're down 21.05% on Bitcoin right now as it is. Not a great look for it. And eventually I think we'll bottom out. When will we bottom out? Nobody knows. It looks like the leading indicator right now from the poll that we have on the comments side of things, you guys are saying about 44% of you are saying 75,000 might be the bottom there. Let's take a look at that. Could we get down to 75,000? Is that our next support line potentially on it? Let's see here. Let's go back here on it really quick. Bitcoin up top. Let's take a look where we have support here on it. This is on the daily. 75,000 would be right around, that's 65,000. 70,000, we do have some support, 73, 75. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I think there's a little bit more support here around 83,000 next, but we'll see. Okay. On it, some stuff to explain what happened here. So this is from the I can never pronounce this. Kobesi letter. This is kind of their interpretation of why the markets went down today. So why are the markets crashing? Our logical explanation is there is quite literally only one headline that can even be partially blamed for such a sudden market crash. At 11:20 a.m. Eastern Time, the U.S. Labor Department said that November and October employment situation will be released on December 16th. By this point, the S&P 500 was already down 70 points from its high seen at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. However, in the 40 minutes after this announcement, the S&P 500 crashed another 120 points. We know that the Fed is effectively entering another interest rate decision with an economic data blackout, right? So they're not going to get it because I think that's happening before that release date there. Markets do not like information asymmetry, but is this really enough to raise nearly $2 trillion in market cap in a matter of minutes? In our view, this was just a switch that shifted sentiment. The reality is that investors are on edge in the market. In this market, definitely are. It seems like it. When a sudden decline begins, investors rush to the exit because the bubble is popping. This works in the opposite direction as well, right? If we start bouncing here, and then when the stocks surge, the rally accelerates quickly as capital rotates back into AI stocks because AI is the next big thing. The reality is that we now live in a market where any headline can drive trillions of dollars market cap in a matter of minutes for one sole reason: sentiment is more polarized than ever. Yeah, I mean, the market doesn't know where it wants to go, right? And to be honest, I don't quite get it. The sky's not falling. Everything else overall is looking pretty good here. When you look at other things in the economy, people are still spending money. People are still going out. They're buying things. They're going out to dinners. They're doing all these other things. They're buying cars. Sales of homes, I think, are down where it's now more of a buyer's market where the prices of homes are coming down. So that's a good sign. We've had 2 rate cuts here so far. We'll see if we get December rate cuts. If we're not, in time, I think we will get them. We know that Trump is pushing hard for that, along with his secretary there for that. So overall, I think the economy is still doing really well. It's just a lot of people markets have gone up quite nicely. AI has gone up quite nicely here. So a lot of people are just skittish, right? They don't want to be holding the bags here, I guess, on a lot of this stuff. And so any reason that they see for selling, they go right at it. It could be also partially attributed to algorithms, trading, right? Any news that comes out that doesn't fit their narrative or the way that they want to go in the positive direction, they go in the negative direction. And it moves quickly here on it. Overall, like I said before, I'm still bullish on not only Bitcoin, but the AI space as well. This is just a clean out, a flush out, whatever you want to call it. And then whenever this does finally end, we should be doing much better here. Okay. Going down here, this is also from Kobesi letter. The breaking the fear and greed index falls to 8, now at its lowest level since April of 2025 bottom. We are back to extreme fear with the S&P 500 just 5% away from a record high. The last time this happened, the S&P rallied 200 plus points in 48 hours. Well, I'm not expecting that to happen here, but we'll see. Right? We are definitely at extreme fear, not only in the markets, but also in Bitcoin as well. And let's see here. The crypto collapse, they talk about this here as well. So the October 6th, just 45 days ago, Bitcoin hit a record high of 126,272, worth 2.5 trillion. Then something mechanical seems to have shifted on October 10th after President Trump threatened 100% tariffs on China, right? That was another catalyst of fear going into the market. Not only did this lead to the record 19.2 billion liquidation, but Bitcoin never truly recovered. It didn't. It continued to fall after that. We bounced up and we were thinking we were going to do okay, but then it continued to fall. Even when the October 30th trade deal was reached between the U.S. and China, liquidation pressure only worsened. Then, since November 10th, Bitcoin has moved in a literal straight line lower, with average daily liquidations nearing $1 billion. Throughout the course of the 45 days, bear market crypto has seen little to no bearish fundamental developments. We continue to believe this is a mechanical bear market driven by excessive levels of leverage and sporadic liquidations. The market is efficient. It will iron itself out, and I also believe that as well. So give it a little bit more time. We will start bouncing back up, and I don't think this is the end of the run for Bitcoin. I think we're going to be in an extended cycle still, with the RSI on Bitcoin being where it's at right now, if we look at that as well. On the daily chart here, we can see RSI right now on the daily is at 23.9. Last time we were at this level was back here. This is on February, right? February, if we go on this line here, right? This was back in February of this year. We did go down a little bit further from that point here, but this is like the lowest we've gone on the RSI here in a while. If we look at the weekly here on the RSI, let's see here. RSI right now on the weekly is all the way down to 34. Last time we were back here was in December of 2022. That's when Bitcoin bottomed out from the previous bull run. So that was the bottom at that point. We're at the same point that we were 3 years ago, basically. And Bitcoin bottomed out at that point, and then we actually went up from there. All right, the RSI bottomed out before that, but Bitcoin bottomed out right around this RSI here as well. And look at, we were at that point, we were at 16,000 roughly. We're at 86,000. We should not be complaining about this. Sometimes you just have to zoom out on these things and go, okay, yeah, we've definitely come way up. We've come quite a bit down, right? 30% Bitcoin price action here recently. And we're still much higher than we were back then. Things are not looking as bad as we might think. We just have to zoom out. And this is like a 31, 32% right now correction as it is, which we have seen here in the last year and a half already twice. So as long as this holds and we don't go down too much further, we should be okay. And if we bounce off, maybe, let me see on the site here, 83,000, right? If we bounce off of that line right there, which is the 100 SMA for the weekly, if we bounce off of that, we might be still pretty good. All right, so that's kind of where I'm looking at least right now, short term at least. All right, next here we have at Bitcoin at 86,000. Bitcoin is now down 32% from its all-time high. Well, we're down at 85,000 right now, so we're like 82 and a half something. 126,000 in early October. That's the biggest drawdown since April, but not unusual at all given its historical volatility, right? And here's a chart of all the different drawdowns that we have seen over time. This is part of Bitcoin's history, unfortunately, and then we're part of it right now as it is. Okay, next here, Bitcoin weekly RSI, just talked about that, is obviously at the most oversold level since the bottom of the bear market 3 years ago, right? We looked at that as well on it, so that is true, which could lead us to possibly bounce from here. We'll see. Nobody has a crystal ball, but we'll definitely take it if we do bounce. I'll be happy about it. I'm sure all of you guys will be as well. And then this is some good news here. Breaking Tether just bought the dip with 1 billion. For the first time ever, they used 1 billion USDT from their own treasury to buy Bitcoin. They definitely know the bottom is in. Well, I don't know if they know definitely, but it's nice that they are buying and other countries are buying still at these levels here. And so it might be the bottom here. Time will tell. We'll only know in a couple of days, couple of weeks, months if that is the case as well. All right. So I wouldn't panic just yet. Yes, this is not a great feeling. Yeah, I'll just say it's not great. But long-term view, still bullish, still going up. Just got to be patient, unfortunately. Right. And I know it's tough to do. If you can, dollar cost averaging, if you can possibly do that, I think that would be a smart thing to do. Obviously, not financial advice. All right. Next here. Cipher obviously got a nice another deal here with FluidStack for 56 megawatts, 10-year AI hosting deal here. Transaction secures, we'll go down to the details here, $830 million of contract value across the initial 10-year term, $2 billion of contract value if 2 5-year extension options are exercised, $9 billion of total contract value across the partnership if all extension options are exercised, modified gross lease with annual escalators there, expected site net operating income, margin of 85 to 90%, estimated project cost of approximately 9 to 10 million per megawatt. Google backstops the $330 million of FluidStack's lease obligations in support of project-related debt, and Cipher maintains a growing pipeline of 3.2 gigawatts being prioritized for HPC. So they still have a lot of growth here happening here, and this is for their Barber Lake facility, I believe. If I'm not mistaken here, let's see if they pointed out here. I think this was, I think it is Barber Lake. It's where the maximum 56 Barber Lake. Yep, Barber Lake site in Colorado City, Texas. So that's great news there, right? They've continued to execute on this and build that out as well. That helps them out. The stock did really well this morning before all the shenanigans happened, unfortunately. So, you know, I was all smiles in the morning. It's like, great, these things are going up. We're finally maybe hitting the bottom there. And then we got news of the jobs not being reported until December 16th, and then everything fell. It is what it is. We'll deal with it. I may be looking to buy tomorrow. We have options expiring as well tomorrow, so we may have more pain tomorrow as well. So I might be buying tomorrow. I still have the 2,000 that I put in last week that I haven't purchased anything yet because I've been kind of waiting for maybe a dip. And sure enough, we're getting a dip here, so I may actually deploy that tomorrow. And I'll figure out other ways to pay for my HVAC system that I need to put in here in the basement. All right. So there's that news, and then we also have Cipher Mining announces proposed offering of 333 million of additional senior secured notes. These are non-dilutive, I believe, from what I read here. They are issuing those at an issuer 7.125% senior secured notes due 2030. So that's all good, right? They're going to need that obviously to build out the rest of that site there at Barber Lake facility, right? So all good there. They just need to continue to execute. Get more customers, get more sites and things like that. I think we'll be doing pretty good here. All right, that is all I got for you guys. Today was a long day. Obviously, joining the two spaces with Ernest and now this. We're going long, but we'll get through it. Today's Thursday, tomorrow's Friday. Hopefully tomorrow we have a better day. All right, let's get into it. Where do I want to go? I want to go here to the Q&A on side of things. I'm going to scroll up as always, scroll down. If you guys could hit the like button, that would help. And then also if you could preface the questions with a question mark or a Q, I would appreciate it. Thank you for that. All right. Roger says more of the story is take profits when it pumps. Absolutely. Yeah, I always tell you guys, take profits. There's no shame in taking profits. I have a longer time frame view on this, so I'm holding on for a little bit longer. But we'll see if that even plays out well. I think it will. I still believe in that. EDB says, I hate short sellers. It should be forbidden. I mean, they play an important role, I think, to keep the market in check, because if you didn't have them, the market would be just going up like crazy, right? And then we'd have probably a 50% correction in the markets eventually. So I think they play an important role. Yeah, it's not great when it does happen, but it's needed. Sour says, we are cooked. We are absolutely cooked. Chat, good night, or GG. Let's see, I've been in miners since 2022. Every single pump miners have dumped and given back most of their gains. House of Cards solely high plays. Not all of it. I mean, right now, recently, this has been completely different. Sour, I mean, just hear me out here. Right, IREN's still up quite nicely from where it was earlier this year. Hasn't given up all its gains. Cipher is up still nicely. So is TerraWolf. Some of the other guys as well that are in that boat, right? Especially if they have HPCI deals or something like that. They're doing pretty good here still. CORZ even, right? So it's not the same as it's been in the past. It is different altogether here. And I still think that there's, more green days to come here. Cleanspark has already given all of its gains, and some, yeah, Cleanspark definitely has come down from where it's been, right? You got to $23, it's come down to now under $10. Yeah, but not all of them. So, but that's the big thing is they need to get some kind of HPCI deals or something going on because that definitely helps them stabilize the price a little bit there. This is what a crazy day in the markets. Yes, it was. Sauer says, I'm rethinking my strategy because buy and hold has not worked for these stocks. To be honest, it still has worked out for me, right? I'm still in the green on all these guys. I'm still around 500% on IREN. Cleanspark's now down under 100%. Cipher is still like 160% for me, and Bitfarms is like 80% or something like that right now. So I'm still, overall, still doing good. Depending on when you got into them, that's the big thing is on that. Some of you guys obviously were not able to get in at much lower prices like I was. But yeah, if you hold on to them for a little bit longer, I think you'll do fine, especially the ones that are going into HPCI, right? Not financial advice, as always. Roger, I took small amount of the table to pay some debts, but I wish I took more. I didn't know we were going to give up all the gains. I gave up 6 figures profits being too greedy. Okay, that happens. I took, well, mine was 7 figures now. Today was looking much better in the morning and then it came back down as well. So I definitely know what that feels like, but then it depends on your situation as well. So I can't really speak to that also. All right. Tess says, but I think we will see a bounce, a little one. I hope you get a big one instead of a little one. Rob Wong, did anyone have their computer locked up today and because that couldn't buy any shares or of stocks? No, I think everybody had access to theirs. Yeah. I mean, it just seemed like nobody was buying. Everybody was selling. SK15, where is IREN bottom? Oh, IREN bottom here. Hard to tell with the market the way it is right now. I mean, this thing has definitely come down quite a bit. It could still go down more. I would say look for the 100 SMA, possibly the next spot that it bounces or lands at. So that would be right around $37. That's kind of what I'd be looking at right now for it. RSI still, you know, still somewhat a little elevated. I'd say very, very little. It's around, what is it at? 37 right now on the RSI, right? So that's on the daily. The weekly is still kind of high up there. So if you just look at the RSI here, last time we were back here and price at that point was much lower. So this also leads me to think that we will eventually bounce on these guys and they will go up higher from where they even were. But it's going to take some time. I mean, it could be a week, it could be 2 weeks, it could be 3 months. We don't know, or more on it. But yeah, these drawdowns are definitely not fun. All right, let's go back here to the Q&A. I should have probably moved the screen over for you guys so you guys could have seen that. All right, talked about that. All right, SK, what is your IREN end of year price target now? I mean, geez, right now, depending if the market actually corrects and goes back up, I'd be happy if we go back to up to like $60 on a $65, to be honest. We'll see where we end up. But I think long term it's going to do much better. All right, Tej says, I've got 15,000 on the sideline, but let's see how bad it gets. Yeah, that might be a bad way to go right now. All right. See how low Bitcoin will go. Like I said, I think right now 83,000 is going to be the next support maybe. If it doesn't hold, then we might be going below that. Roger says, just take profits. If it pumps 5 to 10% off the table each time it runs up 50%. Yeah, that's a good way to do it also. HB, hey Seb, down 30% since October 10th. Hanging in there, but man, this is tough. Hope you're holding up to. Yeah, I'm still holding up to it. That's not a great feeling for sure. But we've been, at least I've been through this. I don't know about you guys, but I've been through this a couple of times here with these Bitcoin miners, Bitcoin specifically, right? I've had it since 2017. So I've been through these drawdowns with Bitcoin where, you know, up huge, then we go crashing down. But each time, each set of time frames, at least in the past, we've always gone up higher and higher. So I think this is going to be the same place with not only for Bitcoin, but I also believe that's going to be the same thing for a lot of these BTC AI miners. John says, hey Seb, always wash your hands after using glue gun. Basement reno got the best of you, huh? Yeah, but I don't use a glue gun. Well, I haven't used a glue gun yet. That doesn't mean I won't, but I haven't used it yet. Okay, that says, if we are in a bear market, just going to keep adding and bringing my average down on these guys. I'll have 3 years to do that. I don't mind. Okay. Yeah, I don't think it's going to take 3 years. I think we might be able to bounce next year. If not, even a little bit this year too. Tesla's Hive has come down a lot. Looks like a good buy here. It has well, a lot of these guys have come down quite a bit there. Let's see here. I still kind of feel the miners are following BTC a little bit, but I think it's the overall market. If you still look at where the miners are from Bitcoin in comparison this year, they've kind of decoupled from it already as it is. All right, EDB. So why people feel talking about bubble. Shares like CoreWeave went down 67% already. The bubble is burst already. Yeah, if we had a bubble, it's definitely gone. But I don't think that there was a bubble. I think a lot of these guys did run up quite nicely here. Little correction, yes. CoreWeave, on the other hand, right, asset light for the most part. They don't have any, I don't think they have any infrastructure of their own right now. They were trying to buy out, well, not CoreWeave. Yeah, CoreWeave. They were trying to buy out CORZ Scientific there. That didn't work out for them. So that might be it. They also obviously went public this year, right? If I'm not mistaken, was it this year or late last year? So within this last year, they went public and they had a lockup period for people to sell stock there. So I think that's the reason why it also went down. But there's, you know, probably a number of reasons why it went down. All right. Talked about that one. Let's see here. Mark Fund says bought some Cleanspark and then it fell. Okay. Yeah. Done that before too. John Kurtz, Tom Lee on Power Lunch CNBC today explained why every day for the last month has been a loss for the entire portfolio. I saw a portion of that. That might be a good explanation. I'm not sure if it is though. Let's see. I'm good. Okay, kidding on that. Okay. Mark, I think the market is being irrational, looking for excuse to crash. How many of these we had last few years? I mean, we had the crash earlier this year from January to April because of the concerns on tariffs, right? Trump's Liberation Day was basically the bottoming out on these guys. Maybe we're getting close to that here as well. I mean, looking at the RSI where it was then and where it is now, it's pretty similar. All right. Neil says the Japanese carry trade is on the verge of collapsing along with the repo market will crash the global markets. Final warning. And pink. I saw that as well, that Japan is looking to, what is it, like $250 billion that they're looking to add into the markets. And then the treasuries there, not the treasuries, but the bonds are going high, right, on them. I think is that the reason why. All right. Roger says, good news is I think large players bought, so it's forming a floor for the price action. I think we're close to bottom. I would hope so. It's kind of looking like it, but it still could go down more. All right. Steven says, buy Cipher, not Cleanspark, BitDeer. What a joke. Mara, what a joke. Now look at Bit Digital and Hive, okay? Mark says, only if we were not emotional. Book says, buy in fear and sell in greed. That being said, people who sell some stocks, they did as well. For example, people who held an NVIDIA, Costco for years, doing okay. Yeah, that is true. Tesla 77,000, I'll take that. Seb, hope you, yeah, I'm definitely good. There's a lot of comments here trying to catch up on all this stuff here. Neil says, again, I made money shorting the market today. Please plan an exit strategy and preserve some of your profits. I'm telling you, things are going to get even more ugly. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's always two sides of the story, right? We could be going up or we could be going down. If you might be right that we're going down. Ted says we got a lot of options expiring tomorrow. Yep. Did a poll here. Let's see. Just smash the like and share the link. I appreciate that. Tom Lee said 77,000 a day on CNBC could be the low. Okay, so we're not too far from that, about 8,000 or so. Neil, so frustrated you pulled out all of the here, LOL. I pulled this out way before I got into crypto. But if I did have hair at this point, I think I would have been pulling it all out. All right. Let's see. Tash is asking if we have a center rally this year. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we got to bottom out here shortly, I think. BHH, Collapse, Cleanspark, BitDeer, Hive, Bitfarms, Mara, a lot of these things went down. Let's see. I'm trying to find some questions here. P Invest, definitely feel your sentiment there, and yeah, no worries on the language there. Let's see, bull markets end on good news. Bear markets have short, sharp rallies. Okay. All right, Daryl, do you really still believe that we are not in a bear market and that BTC will rocket higher soon? I still believe that's the case. Only reason is if we go down obviously 40-50% from here, I'm thinking we're in the bear market at that point. But as long as we maintain above 35%, right around there, I think we will be in a similar situation like we have been twice already this past year and a half. Right? Bitcoin came down 32-33%, whatever it's been in the past, twice already. So as long as we hold that line in the sand a little bit, and we don't go below that, or go 40-50%, then I would think that we might be in the same situation that we were in the past. Okay. Let's see, FluidStack, not a deal, just an extension. It's still a deal though, right? It's an extension. They got a deal with FluidStack there. P Invest says Cleanspark high nines is criminally undervalued. I agree with you there. BHH doesn't seem to agree though. Cleanspark is trash. I don't think they're trash. BHS never understand is FU more. Yeah, I don't agree with you there. Let's see. Victor, question 88 is the same as the level we were watching. What's the next important level are you watching? The next one will be like 83,000, right around there. The 100 SMA on it, 100 weekly SMA. All right, Raz, what are the good news for the future if I don't see it continuing on your question here. What are the good news for the future? I think the economy's still doing good. We're having obviously more and more manufacturing coming to the United States, so that's good news. AI is going to definitely have a huge impact on the economy as well. So I think there's a lot of good news still happening here. Maybe it'll bring down costs. I mean, some people are saying that AI could make it so that people don't have to work. They could do other things and still make a lot of money. Time will tell, right? If that's actually going to be the case there. I think people need to have a purpose in life. I think they need to go out and do something. If you are just sleeping and wasting away, that's no way to live either. So I think there's going to have to be a happy medium someplace in that plan there. All right. PInvest, how does IREN go up 17% but finishes down 5% and drops another 6% after hours? Did someone launch nuclear weapons or world ending? Yeah, nothing like that is happening here. It's just market being the market, being irrational, and while as long as they can bring it down, they're going to bring it down so they can buy it at lower prices and they're going to write it back up. It's a tale as old as time. All right, Daryl. Question, if Bitcoin runs lower for the next year, do you really believe that these miners can offset the losses of revenue with HPC deals? Yeah, already we're seeing that with IREN, right? IREN's targeting, 3.5 billion by the end of next year? Annual run rate, right? Their current, let me see here, IREN. Yep, what do I got them at? 3.4 billion annual run rate for them. So if we look at it here, this is from their reporting, right? They're talking about 3.4 billion. This year, the highest that they got to Bitcoin revenue run rate was around 1 billion, but that's been coming down as network hash rate has been going up and they haven't been increasing their hash rate at all. So that's been coming down, plus Bitcoin price coming down. So yeah, next year they could be by the end of the year with the Microsoft deal, their own NeoCloud business that they're also offering there. They could be at, 3.5 times more revenue run rate than they were with Bitcoin mining at the peak. So yeah, IREN for sure. Cipher right now we have a HPC annual run rate of 666 million plus whatever they got now. The new deal adds on top of it. So that's another, what is that? I can't remember. So that's over 700 million annual run rate once they get those sites built out. So it's also more than their current Bitcoin mining revenue, which is right now estimated for October numbers times 12 months at 307 million. So they're already double basically where they were with Bitcoin mining side of things. So yeah, I do think eventually or next year, these guys will be making more revenue than they did with Bitcoin mining. Okay. And then when you get other players getting into it, CORZ Scientific, I do have the numbers for them inputted as well. I'm not sure if I do. I don't have the actual run rates for the revenues from CoreWeave there, but I'm sure it's going to be larger than what they had in Bitcoin mining because their Bitcoin mining side of things was pretty paltry here, 46 million. So yeah, that's going to be larger than that as well. All of these guys are going to be more tied to AI than Bitcoin mining going forward. Bitcoin mining is going to be an asterisk at the end of their reporting here if they continue to be mining at all, which some of these guys are definitely looking to get out of it as fast as they can, it seems like. All right, so there's that. So that's my thoughts on it, at least. Okay, Victor, would it be wise to sell miners now and buy back lower? Appreciate your thoughts. Okay, not financial advice. My thoughts are, if you're going to sell now, what happens if they go up? Right, you're going to be kicking yourself like the people that have sold some of the miners when they were, IREN was like $10 and ran up to $77, right? So that's up to you to decide whether or not that makes sense. If you believe we're going to be going down more, then that might make sense. If you believe that we're going to go back up here in time, it might be better just to dollar cost average, but that's completely up to you, right? None of this is financial advice. Lionheart, will Sailor get liquidated? Sailor's going to take a lot more for him to get liquidated. I think his liquidation price is around, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I thought I saw something around like 20-some thousand, 30,000 per Bitcoin is when he would actually get like completely liquidated at that point. Right. Let's see. Rob says, was I the only one that had their computer freeze up on them? I couldn't buy anything today. I think that was just your reaction time was frozen from seeing things falling down here. Let's see. BHS says, y'all are coping so hard. Don't turn into bag holders. And if you already are, then cut your losses. Miners are done for since 2 weeks. Again, I tend to disagree with you, but you could be right though. All right, Raz, which news the miners market will take up in the future? AI deals, right? Colocation, growth in revenue, things like that. Bitcoin going back up would also help. Let's see. Unknown says, we're still to come, haven't seen it all. Okay, looks like we got quite a few shorters in here, it seems, which is okay. You guys are definitely part of the play there. P-Invest, my portfolio was at 385,000 with miners and BMNR 3 weeks ago, now 110,000. Please explain how the hell this is happening when world is not ending. Yeah, it's the market. There's no way to really explain it. There were a lot of fears, right? The tariffs, AI bubble fears, all of those things are, things that were used to drive the markets down. So I'm with you there. I'm down, 30. Well, it seems like you're down a little bit more than I am as percentage-wise. I'm down 33%, or at least I was. We'll have to see, probably down now like 35, 36% down from the top from where I was. Let's see. Ross, question. I am not seeing any good news. Everything has suddenly become dark in the future. Well, dark sells, right? Especially in the news side of things. Dark, fear, dread, all of those things sell much more than positive news. And so, yeah, you're going to see that for a while until things shake out. I mean, we had great news from NVIDIA yesterday. That spurred the markets up, right? Everything was going great. And then we had the news on the jobs not being reported until December 16th. And everybody panicked, right? Panaceum. Fed is not going to have data. They're going to be shooting in the dark when it comes to rate cuts. So, okay. So they're going to not get it until then. So maybe they'll lower rates in January, right? If the data comes in worse than they thought. I mean, come on. All right. Dale says, I did sell 75% of my miners about a month ago, but am currently down about 750K on my remaining shares. At this point, I will just keep dollar cost averaging back in. Okay, well, you obviously did very well there if you sold 75% at that point. So congrats to you, my friend. That was nicely done. P, investors need Ethereum to bounce. Yeah, Ethereum and everything else needs to bounce here. All right. Okay, Raz got a question. Institutions and retailers dumping BTC, who you think will come as the saver? Well, actually, retail, I think, is buying along with institutions are buying. The persons that are selling are some of the whales that have been around from like 10, 15 years ago. Those guys are the ones that are actually here selling. So, right, we had a huge sale happen a couple months back that sold quite a large chunk that was through Galaxy Digital there. Maybe that's what started it all off at that point. Fear and everybody that's been in for a long time. What else we here? Sorry, I'm trying to find another question here. You guys have a lot of comments between yourselves. Let's see. Neil says, things are looking good. Sebastian, can I get some of those drugs you're on? Hopium, positive mentality. That is something you either develop or you're born with, I think. Yeah, some people are, less prone to positive attitudes, things like that. They're more into the dark sides of things, all is doom and gloom. But yeah, let's see, what else we got? All right. Is Bitcoin legislation coming out soon to save us from the bloodbath? I saw something about that it's like getting close to being presented, I believe. Yeah, we definitely have a battle here with shorts and the longs here, looks like. What else we got here? I'm trying to quickly peruse the comments here. You guys are talking between yourselves, which is fine. Okay. Hassan, what about Mara? Mara has been, to put it frank, a dog this year, pretty much. So I'm not sure what you want to know about them. They're obviously one of the biggest miners there. They do have quite a few sites as well. But they've been kind of going in all different directions when it comes to Bitcoin mining. They're getting little hands in too many jars, I think. And then they've been kind of late to the AI party as well. They're trying to do that with getting majority stakes in companies that do AI data centers in Europe and things like that. But yeah, I don't know. Okay. All right. I can't pronounce your name, so I do apologize that. But he says, or she, we saw two rally up after 2 times 30% correction. What's the chances we see a third time? Well, that's kind of what I'm going by, right? There's those 30% corrections that we have seen here historically in the last year and a half. And then after that, we rallied. So could it be the same thing here where it's just a shakeout, getting rid of all the longs, liquidation on those people, and then we rally? Could be. I don't know. All right. Heinzie back. We're screwed, Seb. This cycle is more fun with less crypto bandwagon. Worst of all, the government and institutions like BlackRock. Okay. I don't know if we're screwed yet. Well, time will tell. All right. Crypto and stock fear and greed indicators are all-time low. Basically, historically, these have been best time to buy. I would agree with you there. Neil says holding is a fool's game. Not always. If you're a longer time in mindset investor, right? If you had got into Apple, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, held on for them for 5-10 years, you're probably doing pretty good there, mostly with those things. But obviously, those are growth stocks. What we have with some of the miners, IREN, Cipher, others as well, right? Those are growth stocks as well. They're going to be growing. They got megawatts that are coming to them in 2026, 2027. These are growth stocks. You will do, I think, still very, very, very well in the next couple of years, right? Could we have a bad couple months here coming up? Yeah, I mean, we've already had 3-4 weeks. What's to say we don't have another month or two that's bad before we start bouncing up here? But things are looking pretty bleak already as it is. So I think eventually we will bounce. Okay. The P-Invest says MicroStrategy is trading 66% below the average analyst price target of 520. Bitcoin bottoms while MicroStrategy bottoms as well. Yeah, I mean, that thing has not done well since last year. It's got to 520, something like that, and it's been falling down. All right, Roger says, I think IREN will fly once this dump is done. I think that is also the case there. Daryl says, Seb, I love your optimism. I appreciate that. Right, it's better. I personally like to be more optimistic than a doomer and gloomer and all that stuff. I just feel like it's a better way to live personally. But obviously people that are also very pessimistic and things like that, they can do very, very well. And a lot of them do very well. And when it comes to investing, things like that, because they're the ones that are like, oh, this stuff is going to be crashing, and they sell, and they actually do the right thing potentially and sell, and then they buy in lower, right, if you can time it right. I suck at that, and it might be because of my optimism that I think things are going to go do better and better. That could be just a flaw in my character, right, where I shouldn't be probably trading or, I would say trading. I think investing is one thing because you're investing for a longer time frame, but trading, that's not my forte. All right. Let's see what else we got here. P-Invest. Why are we down? This is the worst than COVID and FTX crash. The world is not ending. Yeah. That's why I think this is just a correction. Let's see, Seb, you don't have 30,000 Bitcoin as a choice. You think it's going down that low? Then that would be a bear market, right? If we go down that low, then it's a bear market at that point. What else we got here? Okay. So there's another question. Cipher per megawatt. Okay. Can't pronounce your name, so I'm sorry. Cipher per megawatt cost is $9 to $10 million to build, and calculate how much they are making per megawatt per year from that deal. Yeah, but the big thing is building out those data centers. Once you have those data centers built out, it's just like anything else. You got to build out something to then have something for it. So take them into consideration as well. Once they build them out, they do have those for like 20, 30, maybe 40, 50 years, data centers. And that cost is already done and over with. You depreciate that over the amount of years, whatever it might be. And then it's pretty much all cash flow at that point. So that's the kind of way I look at it. Is you got to build out, and you're going to do that. Nobody's going to give you a building for free and go, here you go, you may use this. Okay, and how much time it will take to get their money back. It will take them obviously a while to do that, but they're going to still be profitable at that point. All right. What is the average money HPC AI miners are getting megawatt per year, and how much it took time to get the money back, and also look for depreciation. Also, yeah, depreciation is a part of it, but depreciation on the machines, the buildings, obviously are going to be longer. We've heard Google talk about their first generation TPUs that they put out are still 100% utilized after being up and running for like 7-8 years. We're seeing the same thing from NVIDIA as well. So you got a longer time frame to possibly depreciate those machines. You can still do like 5 years, but then you still have like 2 good years of possibly being able to run those things. Data centers, on the other hand, right? Data centers can last a heck of a lot longer. So, all right. Andrea says, it took 8 weeks to bounce after the pullback in April. Tom Lee thinks this pullback started October 10th and will bounce 8 weeks from then. That should be year end. Okay. Yeah, that would be close to that. Yeah, for sure. All right. Hans says, BTC at 63,000. Let's see, Josh says, hi Sebastian, Ben is genius. This is not the right time to announce any contract. Better when market uptrend. Well, that's always better to do that when you know the market's in uptrend, and if you can get a deal, right? So that's always great. But even the guys that did announce when market was in the uptrend, they still got punished here recently. So, all right. Unknown says 63,000. Maybe we'll finally manage to mine a block solo with my BitX to Bitcoin mining mafia finally accept me. Okay. I was thinking about getting one of those little BitXs just to have at home, just to see if I can mine a block there. The BMR at 0.83 NAV opportunity. At that price, yeah, it seems pretty good. Good level to get into, I would think. I don't think they should get much more than maybe like a 1.1 MNAV to maybe 1.2 at max. So anytime you get above those levels, I would be looking maybe to trim, but I could be wrong. It could go up higher. But that's kind of the way I would look at it. Let's see, Christian says, again, I warned you all last week. You did. What about SBET? SBET, don't know about them too much. I think there's another Ethereum trading or Ethereum holding company, right? Am I thinking of the right one? Is that the one? SBET. Yep, that's another one of those Ethereum holding companies there. Okay, Christian says, and to be honest, you guys won't care, but this is not going to stop until OpenAI attempts to go public and gets destroyed, or it can't pay its first bill. Well, OpenAI, yeah, I think is going a little too hard, but they're battling against some big boys there, against Google, right? Against Amazon, against Meta, against Palantir. Who else is in that boat? XAI as well. So they're trying to lock up as much as they can because they know it's going to be tight. So it's going to be interesting, right? All of these guys are trying to get to AGI. artificial general intelligence, or what's the other one? Artificial super intelligence, ASI, I believe it is. So all these guys are fighting for that right now. All right. Sanda says, Seb, why are you pretending you understand the markets? I don't understand the markets. Markets do not make any sense to me sometimes. Kindsy question, anyone else ready for the asteroid to finish us off? Hopefully we get to Mars by then, so we have at least have another plan to go to. All right. Christian, question. So are you ready to admit the 4-year cycle is real and your extended cycle theory is something you are just guessing on? No, I'm not ready to admit yet. We're only down 30%. We were down 30% earlier this year, from January to April, right, if you call that. And we were also down from, I think it was April of 2024, down through like August, we were down 30 some odd percent as well. So this is still in line with that. If that falls and we fall below, I would say, let's see, we're at 85,000. I would say if we go to like 75, 70,000, at that point I would start to get really concerned that this might be a similar cycle. Okay? With Bitcoin at least. The miners on the other hand that are getting into HPCI, they might not care. They might continue to run here. We'll see. Okay. Breaking. Japan says their stimulus package will have an overall economic impact of 265 billion. Yeah, that's kind of what I saw there. So we'll see what that entails. Let's see, Christian. And the moment NVIDIA has an even slightly bad report, it's going to be bloodbath. Sell now before you get screwed. These miners can drop another 80%. Again, you might be right. I'm not saying that you're wrong. You might be right. Okay. Christian says also miners are currently diluting on your faces. Dilution's not for a couple more years. Not dilution right now. For most of these guys, at least. The Senda says Mr. Tippy's guy was right on Discord, and now you're ignoring him, which is not good. I'm not ignoring him on Discord. Jeez. Last conversation I had with him, I think he posted earlier this week. So like, I told you. It's like, okay, how do you respond to that? I mean, yeah, you're right. Right now, we'll see how things play out. All right. I believe we're seeing people with a disposable income or self-directed investments are staying away until U.S. politics calms the markets. Everyone's selling out and sticking their cash in the mattress. Yeah. Okay. The Christian says, what is disingenuous comparison? I'm not sure which one you're talking about there. Okay. Mr. Tepes, is that you under Sanda W? If that's you or not you, I mean, yeah. I mean, he was definitely talking for a long time saying that this could be, a peak, that we're going into a recession potentially, all those things. I mean, we shall see on that. All right. Miners nothing like Google or Amazon. Don't be fooled. They actually have more megawatts potentially than some of these big guys, because these big guys didn't have to have these huge data centers with all these megawatts because they weren't using all these GPUs. You were using regular servers, right, which don't require 300, 400 megawatts, or not megawatts, 300, 400 watts per GPU. The whole server was using up maybe 400 watts. All right. CP Invest, the Fear and Greed Index is now at 6. Never seen this low, bullish. See, so we got two sides of the story. There's people that are bullish and people that are obviously bearish here right now. Christian says, question, these miners are terrible long-term investments minus IREN. Are any even close to their all-time high? Cipher, right, is another one. Who else? Cipher, CORZ, right? Core Scientific as well. But those guys obviously have deals. TerraWolf as well. Hut 8 is not too far off, I think. Let's see. Unknown says, apparently holding game evolved into day trading indeed. Okay. All right. Let's see. Seb, now that everything is down, which one do you think has the most upside potential? I think BitDeer, Hive, and Cleanspark. Are these the three most undervalued? If you had 10,000, where would you put it? Yeah, I think BitDeer has definitely come way down. So has Hive, Bitfarms as well, Cleanspark. I think those would be like the four. Have come down tremendously here. As far as where would I put it into them? Personally, not financial advice as always. I would probably mix it up a little bit because you just never know which one of these guys is going to get a great deal with somebody coming up here. So that's kind of what I've always said here, is just kind of diversify as best you can on these things. Let's see, Aaron says, I think the correction was necessary, probably manipulated to slow down with quantitative easing, and leading up to the midterms will be at new all-time high soon. Okay, that's kind of what I think too. Let's see. Okay, we're catching up here. Let's see, which two miners would you buy right now? The ones that I hold, obviously, right? So I'd probably buy some more Cleanspark, which I might do tomorrow, along with Bitfarms there as well. Those have definitely come down a lot here. I still own, obviously, Cipher and IREN, but those still are holding up pretty well overall. Sorry, says any adoption we may have had is now mostly gone. Pathetic. Adoption in what? Bitcoin or in AI? I think AI is continuing to improve. We saw XAI create or release, what is it, Grok 4.2 now. We saw Gemini from Google release. What is it now? At 4 also, I think, right now, their version. Those things are getting much better as time progresses here, but they also need more megawatts. All right. Let's see. Aaron's got a question here. I think you missed my question on your spaces on X today. You referred to data centers in space. Can you please explain on what it is, what it means, and how you see it playing out? Okay, that's something that has been brought up by Amazon, by Google, XAI, and also NVIDIA, right? The reason for that is with the amount of compute that they think they're going to need I don't know if it's whether to reach super intelligence with AI or whatever, but they think that the amount of megawatts they're going to need here is there's not enough supply currently, and to build that out would take probably decades, if not longer. To do that, they think that there might be a possibility, and possibly even cheaper, to build out data centers up in space, where at that point all you really need is solar panels, right? You get a heck of a lot more sun up there than you do down here. You also can make them less expensive because Elon said that you don't need the glass to protect them out there, I guess. And the other thing is for the cooling, which Jensen Wang said you don't need the cooling on the chips themselves because you're out in outer space, right? It's like, what is it? Basically zero temperature-wise out there constantly. So you can just have those things without all the cooling, which then reduces the weight of the machines. What did he say, by 98% or something, 95%, 98%, something like that. So you take all those things into account. You then ship them up with Elon's rockets from SpaceX, right? And you can deploy a huge data center up there, potentially. So that's kind of what they're talking about doing, which is freaking interesting as heck. I don't know when that would even take place. I think, who is it? Google, I think, is launching a little small satellite to test it out. They're with their TPUs, I think. So they're already looking at that possibility of getting those things up there. Okay, covered that. PGW, it's harder on investors who haven't ridden a bear market. Write it down, cost average down. Just pull down your pants and slide on the ice, okay? Yeah, it's not an easy feat to be through that. Sarah says adoption in BTC AI is great. Okay, yeah, adoption Bitcoin. I mean, but adoption Bitcoin is still happening though. I mean, we're seeing more and more of that happening. With Bitcoin going down right now, we're not talking about it as much, but because AI is kind of taking the front row seat here. But AI adoption or Bitcoin adoption is still happening, right? You saw Bukul, I think it's how I pronounce, the president of not Argentina. What's the other one? I think it's Argentina, maybe. Bukul bought some Bitcoin there as well. So it's still happening. Other countries are buying it. Companies are still buying it. Adoption is happening, and there are other things happening behind the scenes as well for institutions and banks and things like that. Rob, the idea of having data centers out in outer space has one drawback. The chips, after a few years, will become old and outdated. Maybe so, they become outdated, but just like here on Earth, right? They're going to be old and outdated, but you can still get 7, 8 years out of those things potentially. And if they're at a constant temperature, at a cool temperature, they could possibly last even longer. So, and once you get something up in outer space, it doesn't really cost you anything. Power is free. I mean, those things could last maybe even longer, 10, 15 years. Potentially you could have those things up there. Let's see here. Christian says, well, you all got grifted by these AI companies. Space data centers. Why not? I mean, how much does it cost to put up something into space? Probably cheaper than it is to build a huge data center with all the cooling and everything else and all the components that go into cooling those chips as well. I mean, there's got to be huge savings in that. So, and you already, like I said, Google's already looking to launch a small CubeSat or whatever it is, a satellite that would have a GPU or their TPU on it for testing out there, just to see how well it holds up. If they're doing that, they're definitely thinking hard about possibly doing this. All right, let's see. Black Iced, are we officially stuck in a bear market? No, I don't think yet, right? Again, like I said, we've had 30% drawdowns before, so this might be part of it. Sarah says, the run took like 4 months and all the gains will be wiped in a month or less. Yeah, we've seen that happen too. Like, where did you see the bottom, or where do I see the IREN for bottom? For IREN, I don't know, to be honest with you. I hope IREN bottoms out here quickly, just like the rest of these guys do as well. IREN's at $43 right now as it is, obviously. It is, let's see here. Like I said, I think maybe the bottom, I would like to see it maybe bounce off the 100 SMA here at $37 to see if that holds. I mean, today we got to the 50 SMA, got rejected. Oh, excuse me, got rejected there because, well, the market is the market, and we fell because of that. But I mean, it was up nicely. It was up 14%, right? So I think, and still held up pretty good. I mean, compared to some of the other miners, it's overall not as bad as some of the other ones. It's down 43% here, but some of the other ones are like 50, 60%. So it's still holding up a little bit better than the rest, but still not good here. And this has been basically what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you could say basically, well, 8, 9, 10, 11, in 11 days it's down 40%. That's pretty drastic here for anything. So we'll see. All right. Aaron says, don't tell Ben about data centers in space. He'll pivot again and start building out for 2035, LOL. It may not be a bad idea. Get some tickets for rockets up then for them. Christian says, when people are talking about space data, you're addicted to hopium. Show me your actual engineering plan. Look at Google's plans. Look at those up, right? Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible. I mean, we got satellites right now that are operating up there. Mark Rober put up a little CubeSat with a smartphone in there that's operating. It's taking pictures of, well, it's not taking actual pictures of people down on space, but it has what it does is it flips up a camera of your picture. I don't know if you saw that. It flips up a camera. It's already flipped up the camera, but it has your picture. You can send your picture up to that satellite there. It has a picture, and it takes a picture of your picture in space. And he's using smartphones to do that with, right? You think they can't do that with these GPUs and TPUs and all that stuff? Yeah, you can get it done. It doesn't take that much. All right. Let's see. Rob says, outer space floating data centers will become deep space abacuses. Okay. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, it's possible. We got satellites up in space right now as it is. There's nothing saying that we can do it. It's just the engineering side of things as far as... that's the thing part I don't know. How much energy do you get from the solar panels when they're up in space compared to when they are down here? So it just depends on how many solar panels you need per GPU, basically, at that point. Christian says, LOL Seb, listen to yourself, man. Stop. I ain't stopping anytime soon, my friend. I'm going to pound it to the moon. If Fed does cut rates, will we fall further or is it priced in? Well, right now, it's being priced in as the Fed is not going to cut rates. So that's kind of what's happening with it. If we do get rate cuts, then I think maybe the market goes up. But that's just my own thoughts there. All right, we're going to call it a day. We're going on an hour as it is right now. It's getting late. Really appreciate you guys coming in, even the Bears coming in here. Love you guys as well. I wish you guys the best there. And obviously for the bulls as well. I wish you guys all the best. But tomorrow's Friday. We'll see what happens tomorrow. We keep saying each day's going to be better, but it hasn't been this way. But we've been through this before. At least I've been through this a couple of times, multiple times actually. So I'm not too worried just yet. And if we have to wait another, 6 months to a year, well, so be it. All right, we'll be better off on the other side of it. Other than that, thank you so much for coming in. Love you all. I hope you guys have a great Friday. I'll see you guys tomorrow.